in Jacksonville, Alabama. WLJS is the campus radio station of Jacksonville State University. We broadcast from studios in South Hall on the JSU campus. Each weekday, we feature Morning Edition from National Public Radio and Performance Today from American Public Media. Thank you for listening to 91.9 FM WLJS.
NASA's going to need more socks. Nokia says you'll have to wait. So have you been hacked? 8 years of Reddit, and United decides to pay all this, and the one and only James Spann coming up next.
Use it, break it, fix it, trash it, change it, mail, upgrade it, charge it, point it, zoom it, press it, snap it, work it, quick erase it, write it, cut it, paste it, save it, load it, check it, quick rewrite it, plug it, play it, burn it, rip it, drag it, drop it, zip, unzip it, lock it, fill it, call it, find it, view it, code it, jam, unlock it, surf it, scroll it, pause it, click it, cross it, crack it, switch, update it, name it, read it, tune it, print it, scan it, send it, fax, rename it, touch it, bring it, pay it, watch it, turn it, leave it, start, format it, technologic.
Live from studios in South Hall on the beautiful campus of Jacksonville State University, it's the Techies Show. Now, here are your hosts in chairs that have been thrown out years ago, Michael and Bruce.
Technologic.
Welcome to the Hey Techies Show. So glad to have you here joining us tonight. And, of course, this is a special night for the Hey Techies Show. Bruce, the one and only James Spann, and your chance to ask him the question
that's been on my mind since we found out he was coming on the show about, a month ago?
Yes.
Should go ahead and tease it?
Sure. Why not? I mean,
see how many people out there remember what this even is or was. We'll find out about it. Hopefully, when I ask
he's not
about the Viper 9000, Viper 9000, Doppler Viper 9000.
Nobody
see
knows.
Down to your city block.
Yeah,
I mean, y'all remember when all the local stations were fighting to. They had the best weather, and of course James Spann won out because look at him now.
Right.
But I mean, I remember that as a kid, so I guess that dates me. And I'm pretty sure it was the Viper. I mean, that's if I'm right on the model or whatever, the marketing on that, that's a pretty good memory.
Okay. Well, anyway,
Viper 9000.
He's going to be joining us in our next segment and calling in from super secret location. Spanning. So we're just excited to have him tonight. And I've got a little prep story before we get to that, just something to warm us up. We got a few things, but I had a little incident yesterday.
Was it an uh-oh incident?
It was not a good not a good incident.
More than an uh-oh?
Yeah. My phone fell in some liquid, some water, and I got to tell you, I got it out really quick, but it was not good. And
can you ever get it out of water quick enough?
Apparently not.
Apparently.
Well,
right?
Apparently you can, I guess. But in my mind, I was thinking that's not enough time.
That's an eternity.
Yeah, that's an eternity. And you almost watch it in slow motion.
Yeah.
But anyway, so I contacted the guru, and he kind of thought I wasn't going to do this. I was going to put it in a bag of rice. But
let me just say, Michael's like, I just dropped my phone in water. I'm just, I don't know, it's powering on, but like the SIM will read for like 30 seconds and it turns off. It won't read anymore. I'm like, turn it off. Yeah. Stick it in rice. Yes. Don't turn it back on because he's like, well, I can turn it back on. It'll stay on for a few minutes. Like, turn it off.
I know, and I did, but I was trying to troubleshoot it.
I wasn't paying attention to the hangout, or I would have chimed in and said the same thing. I did chime in when Gary said something
find me
about
a different phone.
When he was like, maybe you can get the new iPhone. I was like, negative.
Yeah.
Well,
you can get that new Commodore phone.
My wife was doing pretty much the same thing Guru was doing. Get some rice, get a bag, put it in the bag. And I said, I'm going to. But I wanted to see, because the SIM card, it said it had no SIM card. But then after a little bit, 20 minutes of fooling with it, it would come back and say, oh, I've got 3G, and then it would go off again. And so I had taken the SIM card out, and it did have some water on it. I cleaned it, and then it got better. But it didn't work totally. So I took all that out, stuck it in a bag of rice overnight, by the way. obviously. And the next morning I put it in, and it was working.
Which is probably the minimum amount of time you need to put it in there.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it needed to be longer. Like, there was still, and now it looks like it's cleared up, but there was liquid in the lens.
And you got a picture a second ago. How did it look?
I did. It looked fine.
looked
Well,
fine.
I mean, it had a picture of you, so I don't know.
So it was fantastic.
Right.
It was beautiful.
That was that's bad. A bad test picture. I
But,
can
you know,
tell
for
that.
people that do drop their phone, one of the things you don't want to do, and I know this sounds crazy and people out there are like, duh, but don't put it in the microwave. Don't use a blow dryer.
What? Somebody does. has
Oh,
done
man,
that?
I'm sure somebody has. And somebody probably thought, you know, it's probably some of our younger listeners, not saying.
Well, I tell you what I did do.
Yeah.
I have one of those mattress pumps.
Oh,
okay?
yeah?
And I put it on the suck side
Yeah.
and I put it on the speaker right here, like this, and as I'm just hitting the microphone, and I sucked water out. I
Oh,
was
yeah.
sucking it out, the water out there. So
Yeah.
I don't know whether that
Put
had
it in a
anything.
pressurized chamber. And
Yeah,
make
those are
it
just
pressure
readily
and just-
available anywhere.
Yeah. You know, you're-
But thankfully, it looks like I'm going to be able to salvage my phone for a little while longer.
you know, I
for it.
wonder, because I'm sure some local high school science classrooms have those. I want to see somebody do that.
A pressurized chamber.
Yeah, we had one. It had big old glass. Of course, I think the glass was broken, so it really didn't work. But you know, I'm sure somebody out there somewhere's
Well-
got it. I'll like
Yeah.
get an old phone
Right.
and then put it in there and see what happens,
But the best advice
and
is
then go into
to,
business.
The best advice is to get it in rice quickly.
Yeah.
Turn it off if it has a removable battery, which most phones don't anymore, unfortunately. But if
Right.
it has a removable battery, pull the battery.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't turn it on and off like Michael did. Just
No, I would.
Add salt.
power it off and put it in rice and walk away.
Had
at
salt,
least a
so
day.
at least you can taste it and while you're carrying it around.
Well, I
Waiting
did,
for it to
I
finish
didn't
drying
throw
out,
out the
just-
rice because I thought I might need it again. If it sort of acted up again today.
Yeah.
But it seems it's.
Well,
I
I'd
think
say minimum 24 hours.
Oh yeah, that would be
Minimum.
the minimum.
Yeah.
I had needed it today.
And it would be liberating to not have a phone for 24 hours.
Yes.
Yes, I've had to do that just about
Yeah,
before.
that's why I love going camping and hiking out in the
and we love that you love it.
man. Yeah, I can't wait to go. I wish it'd cool down a little bit,
Yeah.
and then people that go would be like, "Hey, let's go."
Well, maybe James Spann can do something about the weather.
Maybe he can. Well, you know, it wasn't James Spann's fault, but one time I went
Well, that's good to know.
and they said it was going to be clear, like sunny with a high of 75, perfect weather. And about 2 a.m. it came a storm, and it was freezing. How it wasn't snow because we were on the side of a mountain, I don't know. But we all froze. And Mr. Boy Scout here, and I was never in the Boy Scouts, but I had plenty of extra stuff. I had plenty of extra socks, so people use those as gloves because nobody brought gloves. I had plenty of extra clothes. Somebody left the tent unzipped, and water came in all on their side, so their
Yep.
boots were soaked. Of course, I'm like, well, let's start a fire, and everything's too wet. Well, you can start a fire. You just got to know how.
Right.
But they were ready to go.
Hey, let me just tell everyone, if you would like to submit a question, I don't know if we'll get them in. But
Yeah,
if
we'll
you would-
try.
But if you'd like to, there's going to be several ways to do that. Now,
Tweeter.
you can go to Twitter. It would probably be better if you better if you went to Facebook and submitted them there, so that we don't have to watch so many.
Different things.
Right, and
I can watch them all at once.
But
It's called
it's the
tab
guru.
browsing.
yeah,
Tab browsing.
I have
baby.
that up too, as well as
I don't.
questions at HeyTechiesShow.com. And of course, if you want to watch if you want to watch us,
Waving at you now.
HeyTechiesShow.com. We're right on the homepage.
That's right.
And you can watch us there. The guru has set that up, and he's so good at it, and we're grateful for having him. Now, I know a lot of people about NASA, obviously, and they're all excited. They had the first flyby of Pluto. You know, Pluto and its moons, and they flew the New Horizon by it and got a lot of pictures.
Yeah.
But I tell you, they've got a problem now that I just noticed when reading. One of the moons, I guess they had really not. It's Charon. I guess it's Charon or Sharon. I don't know how they would pronounce the C. I haven't heard the name, but They said that it blew their socks off when they got the images today of this moon. So they're going to need socks.
Do you know what the speed, like the connection speed is?
No, what's the connection?
Like when it's like clear, it's like 4K.
Wow.
And then when it's, kind of spotty, it's as low as 1K.
Oh, wow.
That's insane.
4K.
Yeah. Like you remember a 56K modem?
Yes.
Like the equivalent of that, but 4. Like, so less than a 56K. That's insane.
Yeah,
That reminds me of days of like a 2400 baud modem, like
Hey,
calling into a BBS.
Yeah, and we're not talking about a monitor.
Yeah.
Not 4K monitors
Yeah, not
here. We're
4K
talking about
monitor.
4 kilobits per second.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's insane. But
boy,
but
that's
I was talking to was I talking to you about it the other day about I was just amazed, like, think of the math that had to go into that to plan that out.
Yeah.
And they actually, I think they had not completely planned out the course because, they only had so many data points. Because,
Right.
it takes how many years? Like 200 years for it to revolve around the sun? Like, that's one.
It's 225 of our years, I think, or something.
Yeah.
No, it's more than that. It's like 240 something.
Is-
I can't remember
is-
the exact, but it's way over
Yeah.
200 years.
It's one solar year. For
right,
them.
for them, right.
So,
for Pluto.
Well,
hey, by the
who
way,
knows? I believe they're out there. X-Files.
oh my goodness. Well, they haven't seen any life yet. Nothing shot our horizon
sun, yeah.
down yet.
But I think they had to readjust the course because they got during the time that it went, they were able to plot some more data points and say, "Oh, we think it's going to go here."
Yes.
And I forget how close they were. How close they passed it. But man, to me that is impressive. I mean, that is insane. Like that is literally awesome. I use the word awesome
A lot.
a lot.
Yes, you do.
But that is truly
It's amazing.
that human beings figured that out.
Yes. Yeah,
That is awesome.
it is.
I like space.
Yeah.
Never been there, but wouldn't mind going.
It was, let's see, the image was taken, some of these images were taken about an hour and a half before the New Horizons' closest approach to Pluto, when the craft was 478,000 miles from the planet's surface.
How many?
478,000 miles. That's what it says,
Wow.
unless it's written wrong.
I mean,
That's hard to imagine.
yeah. But I mean, think of the technology. How long is it?
What was
been?
that
20
distance
years ago
again?
or something like that.
This news article says 478,000 miles.
But that
from
was
the planet.
before its closest.
Before
approach.
Well, to give you
closest
some
approach.
perspective on that, the distance between the Earth and the Moon is like 238,000 miles. So almost 2 times that distance.
Yeah.
But still, to get it within that precision, that distance away,
That
many
years.
was it 9 years it took to get there?
On its largest moon, there's a
He's not
picture
gonna
that
answer.
I am listening to. Golly.
Yeah.
On its largest moon, it shows swaths and cliffs and troughs stretching about 600 miles across. 9 years. Yeah, I knew it took a while to get there. I heard every word.
Well, what I want to know, and the scientists that classify it don't say it's a downgrade to call it a dwarf planet, but I'm going to say, are they going to upgrade it now? Are they going to reclassify it?
I have no idea.
Pluto will always be a planet in my heart.
Me too. I'm
Me
the
too.
same way. Yeah.
Upgrade it. It's a planet.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, I mean that, and they argue that they're like, it is a planet. It's just a
The
dwarf,
dwarf planet.
and that's not a downgrade. And I'm like,
It is a downgrade, in my opinion, and probably in a lot of other people's opinions.
yeah. I mean,
What's your opinion? Let us know.
yeah.
Yeah.
HeyTechiesShow.com.
That's right. Is a dwarf planet a downgrade? I don't know.
What's consensus? Consensus science.
Yeah.
Who cares what the scientists say?
Well, consensus science, right.
Yeah.
So anyway. Okay, well, I got a question for you. Have you heard about the Cowboy Adventure game?
For me? Is
No.
that for me or for everybody?
For everybody, Cowboy Adventure game. Apparently, you can really get hooked. You can really get hacked on the Cowboy Adventure game. Now, I think they basically
Hacked
taken
or
all the
hooked?
stuff.
Or both?
Facebook login. It gets your Facebook login
Oh, so this is
credentials.
Facebook. That's why I've never heard of it.
Well, I think think it's an app, though. It's like a game.
What's the name of it?
Cowboy Venture. They revealed that Cowboy Venture has apparently compromised the Facebook login credentials of 1 million users who downloaded the Android game. It's an Android game. It's
Oh, okay, yeah.
and basically what happens is they put in their credentials with a sign on, and these less than legit developers took their information. There was also another
Registered in Hong Kong.
Yeah, there was also another one too.
This is
Another
one.
game called Jump Chess, and it was taken down. It's been removed as of July 2nd. But, we talk about this occasionally, about you got to just be careful with these apps.
Jump chess? Is that like checkers?
Yeah, I don't know. See, the thing is, I don't play these games.
Neither
Well,
do
I don't
I
either.
don't think I have
Bruce
a
is
single game.
he's the gamer of the
No,
group.
this is
Not this
I guess
kind of game.
Not this
He's
kind
not.
of gaming. I don't think I have a single game on my phone
Yeah, I don't
for
either.
various reasons.
If the closest thing I have to a game, if you want to call it that, is Sudoku. I like to play that, but
My
that's the
wife
closest
likes-
game.
My wife likes that.
Well, all right. Well, we are ever awaiting James Spann, and we believe he'll be coming up soon. So as soon as we get him on the phone and bring him in,
Don't forget, we're taking your questions for him too.
Hey Techies Show.
Looking to cure that sweet tooth of yours? Mad Hatter Cupcake Shop is now proudly serving the Jacksonville area at their new location at 16 Public Square on the Square. Mad Hatter is open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 9 p.m. and they're closed on Sunday and Monday. For additional information, be sure to check out their Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Mad Hat Cupcakes, and their website, www.madhatcakes.com.
Jacksonville Bookstore offers supplies for school all throughout the year. From books to binders, pencils to Scantrons, Jacksonville Bookstore has it all. They are open Monday through Saturday with convenient hours and location on 302 Mountain Street Northwest in Jacksonville. To find out more, like them on Facebook or call 256-435-7407. Jacksonville Bookstore, a proud patron of WLJS.
Jacksonville Tan is a proud patron of WLJS, serving Jacksonville and surrounding areas since 1987. At their location at 115 Francis Street East, next to Walgreens. Jacksonville Tan knows a thing or two about healthy glow, offering 16 tanning beds and virtually no wait times. A great tan is never out of the question. For more info, call them at 256-435-1770.
Gamecock Jewelry Pond is WLJS 91.9 FM. Located at 215 Pelham Road, Gamecock Jewelry Pond has everything you need from TVs, laptops, CDs, video games, and much more. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and 10 to 3 on Saturdays, Gamecock Jewelry Pond is ready to get you cash in a flash. For more info on Gamecock Jewelry Pond, call 256-435-8806.
Hey, this is Rick Burgess from the Rick and Bubba Show, and you're listening to the station where it all began for me, 91.9 WL.
Welcome back to the Hey Techies Show. So glad to have you in with us tonight. And we want to welcome to the Hey Techies Show the one and only James Spann. How are you doing, James?
Boy, this is a good show when you play Layla by Derek and the Dominoes.
Ha 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 ha. Well, I tell you, if our system here didn't sort of act up, it would even have been better. So it was a little static there. James, we're so happy to have you, as I said, and I just really appreciate you wanting to do this. And we wanted to talk to you about the technology behind weather and weather forecasting and meteorology, and maybe a little bit how it's changed. And I know growing up, I was always listening to you over the years, and there was a few others, but you were the only one that we went to when we had serious storms, and I've been thankful for that.
Yeah, I'm old as dirt. I mean, I've been doing this a long time, and you talk about technology. I first started doing weather on television in the summer of 1978, which is before everybody listening to the show was born. And there was really not much technology in 1978 to present the weather on television back in those days. We physically drew the maps with a marker on plexiglass. And after the newscast, you had to get this stuff and wipe it down, and clean it off for the next guy for the next shift. And weather radar was an old black and white printout that it basically looks like somebody threw up on the paper. It's hard to see anything.
Wow.
You had, black and white prints of satellite pictures. And, numerical weather prediction was brand new. There was the first operational model was called the LFN, the limited fine mesh. And the grid resolution was just horrible. But again, back then it was fine. I'm sure in 30 years we'll look back and laugh at this where we are now. So everything changes, but we've come a long way since the 70s.
Well, James, whenever I was a kid, you talking about this changing. I remember all the local stations were fighting each other on the technology, and the big thing then was the Viper 9000. And I remember that as a kid. I'm assuming that's the correct model number or marketing term. What are we on now? How do y'all exactly get those Doppler readings?
All that stuff's just marketing baloney. It doesn't mean anything. That Viper
9000.
I don't even know what that means.
That's what we thought.
Super Doppler Woppler 10,000 mega power. It's just all a marketing malarkey. I mean,
right.
To me, the breakthrough we had was in the 80s when this was like in the early 80s. We purchased an Apple IIe, and that was the first weather graphics system to be run on a computer in Birmingham. And I was working at Channel 13 back then, and let me tell you what, it was awesome. And I remember we had a 5 megabyte drive. I thought we would never fill that up, never in a lifetime. And now, you take one picture and it's twice that size.
That's right.
But that was the first weather graphics system, and then we had a color radar receiver, which took the old radar from Centerville. The radar that used to serve Alabama used to be in Bibb County, near the towns of Brent and Centerville, and it took that feed and it presented it on the air. It was very crude, and it looks almost like Pac-Man, but it was really big time because we went from that nasty fax printout to a color display that used, and that was a proprietary piece of hardware that did that. That was not the Apple that did that, but since then it's just been a steady, growth with technology and presentation and all that. And so where we are today, it's pretty awesome. I never thought today I could have on my phone a $9 app that would probably cost $100,000 back in 1982. Based on what it does, it's just phenomenal.
Wow. And I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. A lot of people now get most of their weather on the go. And is that really something that you can totally rely on, all these apps on the phone, or is there really more to it that you need to tie into watching a TV or watching you on TV to see what the weather's going to be?
Well, let me say this. I think it's great. And, I work, I don't sleep. That's the main negative with the technology is that in my business, you never go off. You are on all the time. I'm on right now on social media. While we're talking, I'm doing that.
Right.
And, so we are delighted to, offer weather products and services through mobile. And that is true. That is how most everybody gets their weather. Nobody, unless you're about 99 years old, is going to wait until the 10 o'clock news to watch James Spann to find out what the weather's going to do. You've seen it all throughout the day. The problem we have is that most people just use the stock apps that come with a phone, whether it's Android or iPhone. And it's okay, when the weather's kind of routine. But when the weather's active, it doesn't help at all, and it can lead you down a really bad path. We call them crap apps, to use the expression.
Yeah.
But, for example, back on Tuesday night, we had a summer thunderstorm event in which one person was killed and 150,000 people were left with no power. It was a big deal, a high-impact storm event, and people that used crap apps had no earthly idea. You know, the crap apps had a little picture of a sun, a little storm, had a high and a low, and a chance of rain 20%. They had no clue, and we're lucky that just one person was killed. And what the main thing we try and remind people is that those apps, not a human has looked at that. That's all automated off computer model data. It's not designed to warn you. It's not designed to help you when the weather's active. And we live in a very, active weather state. So the first thing that people have to get on their phone is a good warning app. And understand it's going to cost you $4, $5. And, a lot of people flinch at that, and I understand that. But to develop the infrastructure to make that reliable, that's a bargain. And the one I like is called Weather Radio by WDT. That's Weather Decision Technologies. And it's marvelous. My wife uses it. Our two boys use it. I use it. You'll get the warnings before anybody else. And based on the GPS chip in the phone, it knows where you are. And you guys know we don't issue warnings by counties. We haven't done that in 8 years. We issue warnings based on geometric shapes called polygons.
Yeah. Right. I've seen you put...
Yeah, I was going to say, if you're on the polygon, you get the warning, and if you're not, you don't. And you can choose the type of warning that you receive. It's marvelous. You can program in fixed locations as well, and there's a lightning option where you get lightning alerts, and that's another big issue in the summer for outdoor venues. So that's my favorite consumer app for warnings and for lightning detection. It's Weather Radio by WDT. There's some other good ones out there, but I just think that's an all-in-one app that is so stinking reliable. So people need a good warning app, and that's the one I like. And then when it comes to the phones, we like for them to kind of, get a feel for what the weather's actually going to do. And unfortunately, the James Spann app just died.
Yeah, I know.
Our station was purchased, as you know.
Yes.
The broadcasting business, the business model is dying. Something new will come out of this. There's always going to be radio, but this model can't sustain itself. And so we're in a new owner position, and they want to do one app for everything. And I understand that. Instead of having a news app and a sports app and a weather app and a James Spann app, they want to do it. And it's really not their fault. The company that developed my app, they sold. They went out of business. And they just couldn't work it out. So, but anyway, there will be a new app that has all of our human-produced products and services soon. But we have a blog, very, very high-traffic blog, AlabamaWX.com, and that goes into really what's going to happen. I mean, if you really need to know what's going to happen, that's where you need to go. And soon the new app will have all those blog posts available, but it's always on a browser if you want to see it now. So we just encourage people to maybe find a good source. You cannot forecast the weather for any region unless you understand the culture, the people, and the geography.
Yep.
And a crap app from the Weather Channel or from AccuWeather, it's okay. During normal days, it's really okay. But when you've got severe weather, an ice storm, a tornado, a hurricane, a flood, something that's serious, it won't help. And so we just encourage people, and I'm not promoting me. Pick a source you like. You might not like me. You might like somebody else. But find a human that is a professional meteorologist that's writing products and services that are human-powered, and that'll help.
Hey, going back to radar, how do we get the graphical representation that we see on the screen from radar? How does that actually get to us?
Are you talking on television?
Yeah, or television, yes. Yeah, how do we, I know it, there's a actual map of what you're looking at, and then that graphical representation's put on top of that map, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. And there are not that many vendors left in the television business. You've got WSI, Weather Services International, and that's the company that we use, is Weather Central, and really those are the three big players. And what companies do, they offer hardware. It's Unix-based, and it takes in the raw data feeds coming from the individual NIXRAD sites. The government operates weather radars all over the country. In Alabama, we have multiple sites. In our end of the state, we have a site down at Maxwell Air Force Base, or just northeast of Montgomery. We have one at the Shelby County Airport south of Birmingham. We have one at High Top up in northeast Alabama, and but all the data feeds are available, level 2, level 3 data, and the vendors provide software that and puts it into graphical form. And understand, radar is just not one product. Years and years ago, radar was basically one product. It was reflectivity. Radar sending out a pulse of electromagnetic energy. Part of the energy will return off targets like raindrops, and you put on a map where the targets are coming from, and that shows you where the rain is. And the stronger the return signal, the heavier the rain. But now with NextRad, you've got a suite of products, and I mean a suite. I would say probably 3 dozen. And the big upgrade to NextRad came 3 years ago when dual polarization came online. And so now we have the dual polarization products, we have the standard products. You've got everything from radial velocity, which is very important, obviously, and that, is the pulse bounces off a moving target, it comes back a little differently, a little different frequency, a frequency shift, a Doppler shift. We calculate that, and we can figure out if the raindrops are coming to the radar or away, and accordingly, you've got a spectrum of colors. The greens are inbound, the reds are outbound, and that's where you can, the circulation centers, where the beam is. Now, the problem with radar, guys, and y'all know this, the radar goes in a straight line, and the good old Earth curves. So when we're showing these velocity rotation signatures on radar, that beam could be anywhere from 500 to 7,000 feet off the ground. And we don't know what's going on underneath that unless we got some trained eyes. But back to the original question, it's proprietary software that these weather vendors offer. And it's the same thing, Weather Decision Technologies. It's the same thing they do on the phone. The app we like for phones is called Radar Scope. It's stunning how good it is.
Yeah, I've heard you mention that before.
You can every single product. I think it's $9.99. It's $10, and you can do a poll. You get velocity. You get reflectivity. And understand, not just at one slice. People on television, we typically show the half-degree slice, but the radar spins around, then it goes up a half degree, spins around again, goes up another half degree, spins around again, and on and on. It's called a volume scan, and the whole process from about a half degree tilt up to 3 degrees takes about 4 minutes. They can go to a severe weather mode where they don't do the high tilt.
Okay.
The data from the volume scan comes back, and on radar scope on the phone, of course, here on television, we can show what it's like not only at 1/2 degree, which is the standard mode, but up to 3 degrees. And you can look up in the top of the storm to see what's going there. So you know how tall the storm is, and you can see the structure of the storm and come up with a 3D model. And then you've got other products like vertical integrated liquid. That is an amazing way to show hail. It's got algorithms that determine how much rain has fallen in a certain area. And this dual polarization product is just phenomenal. There's a product called correlation coefficient. Yeah. And what it does, it correlates, it takes all the returns in a bin. And if the returns are alike, it's positive, and that would be all your rain. But if it's something different, it's a different kind of return, then it goes negative. And with that product, we can see tornado debris that's been lofted. That's the radar beam bouncing off parts of buildings and shingles and boards and bricks and glass and nails. So if we see a negative spot of correlation coefficient in a storm, we know we've got a tornado, and that is an amazing. We had no idea how well that would work. It's been a great, great product.
Wow,
you can see this. You can see this on your phone with Radar Scope. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've heard you talk about that before, actually, and that's one of the reasons why I wanted you to get you on a show that just talks technology, because I know you don't get to talk about that part of it too much. Now, how about we talked about these weather media outlets, and I know there's a lot of them. Like you said, the broadcast industry is changing, major changes, I know, over your lifetime, but certainly in the last 5. Now, does every media outlet that does top to the type of weather that you do cover, do they have to rent time on radar sites, or is this something that they just get from the companies you're talking?
No, the radar from the National Weather Service sites, it's free. Now, you have to pay a vendor to get the live data. The basic data stream is free, and the vendors take that. But if you really want some of the high quality data, there is a fee that we have to pay to the vendors to get that. But you know, the radars are owned by us, the people. That's a government, you know, entity. So
right. Okay.
that we don't have to, you know, rent it or do anything else. We do pay the vendors for some access and maybe some proprietary products that they make out of that. So
Okay.
you know, it's there freely for the public. Now, the other option for local television stations is to own your own radar. And
Yeah.
we had one here for years and years and years. When I came to this station, you know, this used to be Channel 40 in Anniston.
Right.
Yeah.
ABC 3340 is Channel 40 in Anniston, Channel 33 in Tuscaloosa. And when the station merged and formed in 1996, we installed our own radar. I thought that was an important thing to do. We installed it on Double Oak Mountain, which is Shelby County, southeast of Birmingham. It was a C-band radar, 100,000 watts peak power, 14-foot antenna, and we pretty much ran it at a half-degree tilt all the time. And the point of that was the fact that it was live. The one negative about the Weather Service data is that there is a little delay. Now, there are new modes that really reduce that delay, but it might be 30 seconds to 4 minutes before you see a new volume scan, where with your own radar running it in real time at a half degree, it's live. When you see a sweep, that's really where the beam is. And we used that for 15 years. But with time, the Weather Service radars, during severe weather, the government went into a severe weather mode where it was almost real time. And they upgraded to dual pole. And for local broadcast stations to do all that, it just didn't make any economic sense. In fact, we can't even use X-band, the X-band frequency, which is better. So we decommissioned our radar about 5 years ago.
Okay.
And we might revisit that one day, but again, it is so cost prohibitive in this environment. Television stations are not the big cash machines they used to be. Like radio stations. We're all struggling to survive in this new media world. And again, something good's going to come out of this, but right now we're just in a rough patch, which, you know, happens in every business.
Now, I listened to your Weather Brains. Actually, I've just picked it up recently, and I've really enjoyed it. And I know the gurus listen.
I've listened to it for years.
But
Love it.
This past week, you had an interesting gentleman on from California, Jeff Fox, yes, and he has an interesting deal that he's doing. That was really neat to see in his own home. He has a complete weather studio, and
yeah, you know that's an interesting thing. We've had, we do that show as I don't know. We need a creative outlet. You know, our business is very structured, and you know, you're on television for 2 minutes and 3 minutes and 1 minute. You're doing radio and our day is so busy, and I think everybody needs an outlet to be kind of creative and have some fun. So we've been doing that show for 10 years, and it's a core audio show. We added video a couple of years ago because they wanted to put it on cable television. But yeah, with Jeff, it's an interesting story. He does his weathercast at his house.
Right.
And, you know, I'll tell you, you know, I think we all think about that. Of course, I do radio at home.
Right.
I just heard Rick Burgess on here a minute ago, and you know, I'm on his show.
Yes, that's right.
Bill's running the show this week, but I do radio at home, and it's easy to do with, you know, goodness, with the broad bandwidth we have now. I mean, wow, I do 27 radio stations, and in the evening I do the stuff here at the TV station where I am now, but in the morning I'm home, and it doesn't matter. But what's interesting with this guy, he's doing his television weathercasts at home.
Yeah.
So he's got a green screen, and think about it, with today's prices, it's really not that hard to do. He's got a TriCaster.
Yeah, he said he say he put about $10,000 in it, isn't that?
Yeah, that was his total outlay, and he's got a 1080p, high def, beautiful video, and people watching that channel, and he's on the air in Palm Springs, California. You would never know he was in his garage, and literally that's where he is. And you know, he's pulling the graphics from his WSI box at the station. That's an FTP process that's just done automatically, so he's got that at his house. You know, he puts it together in this little computer program, and he runs it just like he's on the air. The main downside to that, there is something to be said for being in the same room with the news people and the sports people and the camaraderie and the it's kind of hard. There's a little intangible there that I think is important, but still, that's a pretty interesting idea. And I would love to do that one day, where I had that option to do it from home.
Hey, I've heard you talk many times during severe weather. You talk about reflectivity, and you talk about a few other things, and you'll go to different. It seems like you're telling people you're going to have to go to a different radar site to get reflectivity. No, do we still use Doppler, or is that something that NextRad just pretty much has taken over?
NextRad is Doppler radar.
Okay,
that's just the government acronym for what they called it. It's the next generation of weather radar. And that was back in the 90s when the NextRad program was developed and rolled out. When I was at Channel 6, we bought our own Doppler radar in 1992. This was 3 years before it came online with the Weather Service. And for small aircraft radar, it was not the best, but it still gave us some velocity data. But NextRad is Doppler radar. And Doppler radar just means it has the ability to detect the frequency offset when the energy comes back from the targets. And it can calculate the difference and in turn calculate velocity down each radial if the targets are coming to the radar or away. And accordingly, you've got that red and green display that you see on television.
Right.
So, every radar site in the country has that. They're all, they're Doppler radars, and they're dual polarization, vertical and horizontal. The thing that's coming along that we're really excited about is phased array radar. That's the next big deal. Phased array radar is really awesome because instead of a parabolic dish that's rotating on a motor, which is what you've got now, and understand, guys, that thing can break. I mean,
yeah.
You think about that thing, it's up there rotating every day, 365 hours a day. Those motors burn out. You got mechanical issues. With phased array, there's no moving parts, not a single moving part.
Wow.
You've got small flat plate antennas on this large array. I want to say there's 72 antennas, and it's in phase. So instead of this antenna pointing around, you get it in real time. Like now, it takes about a minute for that thing to spin around, a little over a minute. Phased array, it's instant. There's not a minute delay. It is instant. And it's in the test bed now at the National Severe Storms Lab out in Norman. In fact, I'll be out there twice. I'll be out in Norman next month in August and then again in October, and I'll get a good look at it. But we figure it's still about 10 years, but that's exciting. That's what's cool to me is the stuff in the pipe coming down the line.
Well, we were wanting to ask about that, is where you saw the most need for advancement in meteorology and weather forecasting, and I guess that kind of dovetails into that.
But the biggest thing we need right now, we've got to figure out a way to get real-time data from the upper air. That's our biggest challenge, and that is one of our biggest limitations. We are still launching weather balloons.
I was going to ask you about that.
Here we are in 2015, and we're basically doing the same thing the guys did in World War II. In Alabama at the Shelby County Airport, every morning at 7 o'clock and every evening at 7 o'clock, the guys on duty, they'll go out and fill a large balloon full of hydrogen. They used to use helium, but it's got kind of expensive, so they're using hydrogen, I think, now. They stick a parachute below the balloon, and they stick a little cardboard box called a radiosonde, which has got your standard weather instrument set and a radio transmitter. And they walk outside and they let go. The balloon is tracked. The balloon goes up about 15 to 20 miles before it pops. And, of course, these are launched in every state. Most states have one site. Our site's at Shelby County Airport. And all nations launch them, and we get the data back. And so we've got this marvelous look at the upper atmosphere to about 18, 20 miles. But the problem is, we're only doing it twice a day. And the big problem is just expensive. I mean, this stuff is expensive.
Yeah.
And think of all of the things that can change in 12 hours.
Yep.
And so now during really big events like tornado events or ice storm events, the government does have the right to do a special midday sounding where they'll do one at 18Z, which is noon or 1 o'clock, depending on whether we're in standard or central time. But that's very rare. So we've got to figure out to get a way to get real-time observations from the upper air without using balloons and radio signs. And all these, we've got PIREPs, Doppler radars have the ability to shoot lasers up, but we really haven't figured that out. I sure hope the next generation is going to get it. Mine is not. But that's our biggest challenge, is how in the world can we do better than these weather balloons? We just haven't figured it out yet.
You got to.
I was just going to say, that's surprising to me. I mean, I assumed we had already had that figured out.
No, and there's somebody that will. I mean, I have confidence. But what happens, that data, that's the input for the computer models. All right, so here we are. It's 7:45 Central Time. The data is coming in now from the balloons that were launched at 7 o'clock Central Time. All that data will be back in house by 8 o'clock. That data goes into the computer models that run. We have global models. We have mesoscale models. And we'll get the models back in our hand about 9 or 9:30 tonight. And those are the models that we use to forecast the weather. And like anything else, garbage in, garbage out. And the grid resolution is just not good. Goodness, we've got the balloon in Birmingham, got one in Jackson, you got one in Atlanta. I don't have a balloon over Jacksonville. I have no idea exactly what the upper air is like over you right now.
Right.
We can get a pretty good guess, but to really improve the numerical weather prediction stuff, the computer models, we need upper air data, more frequent upper air data, and more reliable upper air data. And it is now. We're okay. We're doing about 94% accuracy in 2 days, and that's about as good as it's ever going to get now. But we've got to get better, especially in our biggest challenge down here. It's ice and snowstorms, and of course the severe weather stuff. And in terms of forecasting, the other big challenge is like right now. Like tomorrow, it's going to be hot, it's going to be humid, and
right.
It's going to be storm in the afternoon. You say that every day, and you're right, June through August. The problem is, where's that storm going to be, and when's it going to pop up? Because that's what people really need to know, and I had no idea. Nobody does. So
right.
The forecast is partly sunny and hot, scattered afternoon storms with a high of 94. That really doesn't help anybody that's got a softball game or a baseball game or a picnic, and to get a grasp on this stuff, we just need more upper air data and better upper air data. And then in the winter, it's the snow. It's goodness, that's just a killer. Getting 12-hour upper air observations. We can be burned. This thing we had in 2014.
Oh yes,
disaster.
I was burned.
And it's a reminder. And I tell the younger people in this business, what's missing from my science? It's humility. I don't know why weather attracts narcissists, people that think they know everything. What this business will do, it will bring you to your knees, and you'll realize how much we don't know and how many things we can't do.
Right.
And you live through a lot of these high-impact events that were not forecast well like that. And you realize we've got so much work to do. And, computer models are great, but you can't get any better accuracy until you get better data to put in them.
Yeah.
We're running mesoscale models every hour. The HRRR, this rapid refresher, is a tremendous mesoscale model, but it's going to be using the upper air balloon data from 7 o'clock until tomorrow morning when the next balloon is launched. So that's a big challenge for us.
So how long did the balloon stay up?
They can wear from 16 to 20 miles, and they'll usually pop in about an hour.
Okay.
In the cold season, when the winds aloft are really strong, 150 knots, a balloon launched in Birmingham can be found in Georgia, South Carolina, something like that. But like today, the winds aloft are pretty light. I would say the balloon that was launched at Shelby County Airport this evening was probably going to land down toward Prattville or Selma or Otaugaville or someplace like that. People find them. One day you might walk out in your front yard and you see a red parachute and a white box that says "Harmless Weather Instruments." This is as big print on these things as harmless weather, because people get weirded out. I mean,
sure,
we live in weird times here. But if you find it, your options are, number one, yeah, you can keep it as a souvenir, and most people do. But the other thing that's cool, you can take it down to the post office, and they will mail it back free. There's no postage involved. So, and they can be reused and recycled, but only about 1 in 10 actually come back.
Huh. Well, I imagine some are never found. I would assume they fall in areas where they just can't find them.
Right. Alabama's a very rural state. If you get a helicopter, you could see that. And, a lot of them just land out in the woods or in the middle of a swamp or in a river, and we'll never see them again. But what's cool, we found one, it was found in a school playground. These kids at Houston Elementary in Talladega found one from Birmingham in their playground. And of course, the first thing when you see that, you almost want to call the bomb squad.
That would be a neat.
And they kept it. Somebody from the Weather Service came out and talked to them about it, which was kind of fun.
That would be I was fixing to say that'd be a neat teaching experience there.
Oh, it is, and that's part of what we do that really nobody sees. It's that kind of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of things that go on that people just don't see, and a big part of my job, like what I'll be doing here in the next hour, is waiting for the guidance to come in, the new modeling to come in, and I got to write a morning forecast package.
Yeah,
I've got to write a long narrative, and that's distributed on the blog, and of course we put it on television and radio and everything else. But the key thing is the blog post and the forecast discussion and the numbers we put up on the blog, and we try and be consistent, from blog to TV to radio and everything. And then we have to distribute it across social media, which can Instagram and Google Plus and Snapchat. We live in a new world now, and some people hate that stuff. But what I remind those people, we're here to serve. And if that's where people are, we have to be there. Even if you don't like it, that's where they are.
Right.
So we have to be heavily involved in social media.
Well, as you well know, and we talk on the show quite a lot, it's going mobile. I mean, even down to that watch that's on your arm, James.
Right. We have 72% of those that access the blog, AlabamaWX.com, 72% are using phones or tablets now.
Yep.
So the era of desktop computing will always be there, but Joe Q Public's not using it anymore. They're on their phone or their tablet, and we have to respond to that. And
right.
So many people in weather and technology, we want to do what we want to do. But if you want to be successful in this, you have to have a servant's heart. You have to do what's best for those people that are using your products and services. You need to go down to the Walmart and talk with people that are in the checkout line, because those are the end users, and you have to provide products and services that meet their needs on their time schedule. I've seen so many people sit around these nice polished tables, and they come up with all these fine plans based on what they think people should get. And those days have passed us by. We have no power, and I don't want power. The people have the power.
Right.
If they're going to find a product and service somewhere now.
Right.
If I don't provide it, they're going to go find it somewhere else.
That's
we
right.
better be there with the right products and services. So whether it's technology, providing a website that's mobile friendly, and I'm glad Google went to the punishing websites in search rankings that aren't mobile friendly. That makes sense, because most people are coming into the blog on our phone, and if we didn't have a mobile friendly version, and we use WordPress, then we'd be penalized, and we wouldn't be serving our readers. So we do that, and I put this stuff out on social media. I mean, I can't stand Facebook. It's like I have to hold my nose to go into it. It is this cesspool.
I'm right there with you.
Of misinformation, and just I look at that stuff, and it's just all political hate, and goodness, I don't even want to look at it. But yet, that's where people are. The frustrating thing for us over there, I'm only reaching, the organic reach is down to about 2% now. So when I post an update, only 2% of all those people that follow me get it in their news feed. And the count's up to about 235,000 followers now, so it's just a small percentage. But still, we use it for engagement.
Right.
It's important. And Twitter, there's no filtering there. It's a marvelous real-time platform. Google Plus, we call Google Plus Facebook without the stupid.
Yes, I can see that. Yeah.
You get great engagement over there. And
right.
And then Instagram is for younger people. Instagram and Snapchat, that tends to attract younger audiences. But again, we have to serve them. What took me to the core years ago on April 27, 2011.
Right.
The death toll that day was 252. And I didn't even talk about it for 6 months. I just didn't want to. I'm thinking, how in the world, when the physical science was so good that day, we had 62 tornadoes, and they all had an excellent warning. And how in the world all these people died? I thought the death toll should have been 30. And what we learned that day is that the physical science was stunning how good it was. But the social science, we're not that good at that. We all have backgrounds of science and engineering. My first major in college was electrical engineering, and I finished in meteorology. I've never taken any classes in, communication or
right.
So we work with social scientists to help us, and I think sometimes in technology and science we have this disconnect with real people, and we've got to eliminate that.
Well, look, I know you've got to run to get on to some other things, and we really appreciate you calling us. And
I talked so long, guys. Thanks
no, sir. You talked perfect, and we really appreciate it. And I wanted to tell you something. You are welcome anytime to be on the Hey Techies Show and talk tech. If you want to talk about something else, we'll be glad to have you. So,
this is my kind of show. Most people don't like talking technology. It's like you can just see their eyes rolling in the back of their head. You lose them right away. So, getting to talk dual pole and hardware and software, that's cool. So thank you guys for having me on.
Well, this is our 11th show, and we're just so excited to have you. And thank you so much. And we hope you have a great night, James.
Okay, guys, have a great night. Thank you.
Okay,
thanks.
Well, that was the one and only James Spann.
Man, that was super informative.
It was.
And
we covered a ton of stuff.
That stuff.
He does.
He knows it.
He does. Big time.
And he loves it. You can tell he loves it. Man, that's awesome. I mean, that is just insane how much knowledge he has. Yes. I wanted to ask him, and he'll probably address this later, is the 3D models and stuff. I can imagine as far as a teaching tool, like when the HoloLens really makes its debut, being able to use that as a teaching tool with all the stuff, but the weather balloons things, that just blew my mind. I assumed we had already figured that out. So
I had wondered that because I'd read something while doing this.
Yeah.
I'd done a little research. Obviously, me and Guru, and I think Bruce had done some too, is on his own. And I'd read about the weather balloons, and I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking,
are you serious?
And I assumed that, it's just what we got. And he said that's
that's
what we got. And I thought, like him, we need to move forward on that. And like he said, there are people that are probably trying, but it's going to be a long road.
I mean, to me, it seems like it shouldn't be that hard of a thing to solve, I guess. I mean,
well, you know what I noticed talking to him is that people don't realize how difficult it really is to actually get a forecast that's even close. Forget accurate, that's even close for what we have now.
Yeah.
Actually, it sounded like to me that we were somewhat better off in severe weather outbreaks in a way because of all the radar technology. But seeing those coming and all of that and pinpointing them in situations like we got going on right now, that seemed to be a little more difficult.
Well, and it makes me feel more comfortable that they are worried about the social science behind getting the weather to you. Because, I mean, I think that's a lot of people get tunnel vision in their industries, and they don't think outside, like, how is this effective, or how is it affecting people? And I don't know, man, that's just that was awesome.
It was really
a lot of
I know
now
our
I
listeners I know our listeners really enjoyed that. And of course, if you want to call in the next hour and talk about anything, we answer tech questions. We'll talk about what we heard with James. It's 256-782-5600. And we would really love to hear from you. And I hope we can, you'll call us and we'll talk.
Yeah, we'll talk weather.
Yeah.
So we'll talk tech. Stay with us.
Stay with us.
Hey Techies Show.
Welcome. Yep. Glad to have you.
Jacksonville Bookstore offers supplies for school all throughout the year. From books to binders, pencils to Scantrons, Jacksonville Bookstore has it all. They are open Monday through Saturday with convenient hours and location on 302 Mountain Street Northwest in Jacksonville. To find out more, like them on Facebook or call 256-435-7407. Jacksonville Bookstore, a proud patron of WLJS.
Looking to cure that sweet tooth of yours? Mad Hatter Cupcake Shop is now proudly serving the Jacksonville area at their new location at 16 Public Square on the Square. Mad Hatter is open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 9 p.m. Closed on Sunday and Monday. For additional information, be sure to check out their Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Mad Hat Cupcakes, and their website, www.madhatcakes.com.
Jacksonville Tan is a proud patron of WLJS, serving Jacksonville and surrounding areas since 1987. At their location at 115 Francis Street East, next to Walgreens. Jacksonville Tan knows a thing or two about healthy glow, offering 16 tanning beds and virtually no wait times. A great tan is never out of the question. For more info, call them at 256-435-1770.
Wise Guys Pizzeria and Bar is ready to satisfy your taste buds with a wide variety of pizza and other Italian treats. Located at 7113 US 431 Alexandria, Alabama, they are open Monday through Saturdays from 11 a.m. until 10 p.m. For more information, like them on Facebook or call 256-820-0888. Wise Guys Pizzeria and Bar is a proud patron of WLJS.
This is 91.9 FM, WLJS Jacksonville, your cure for common radio.
Welcome back to the Hey Techies Show.
Man, I'll tell you what, Michael and Guru, that was information overload.
Yes, it sure was.
It was exciting though.
Yeah.
Learned so much.
I did too. And I thought the interview went well.
Yeah, we definitely appreciate it.
Thank you so much, James Spaney, for listening, for coming on.
Yes.
You know he is.
So, what can we move to?
Man, so this kind of goes back to, since we were just talking about, he was kind of saying the TV's dying, everything's streaming and social media. And I hate that the three guys talking sports didn't have a show today, because I wanted to come in and talk to him about it, but cord cutting is about to punch ESPN squarely in the face. So if you currently have a cable subscription or a satellite subscription, and you've not kept up with all the stuff that's going on as far as, people cord cutting in, now they can get HBO, and a lot of who owns Hulu? That's like NBC and all them.
Yeah, I think so. I think they do now.
So, and they actually there's I guess additional packages. Somebody's Hulu that I was borrowing the other day. I noticed that they had like a premium package that was available, and Showtime, getting Showtime anytime was one of the things you could get. So you've got HBO doing their own thing, Showtime doing their own which HBO, that's also Cinemax. Showtime doing their own thing. I'm sure Starz is probably about to do their own thing. So that's all your premium channels.
Right.
And, a lot of your local channels already have stuff. Then you've got Hulu. Then you've got Netflix, which we'll talk about Netflix later. But, all these people are like, I don't want, I want a different package than what they have available. And ESPN's a lot of the reason a lot of your cost of your package that you're getting. And some people may never watch sports. They may pay $40 a month for their package, and probably 20 to pay channels, which Disney owns. So it's all Disney stuff,
right?
But ESPN, it's gonna hit them in the face, because which, hold on, it may actually say each house is paying $6.41, so $6.41 per month. For a channel they're not really interested in. And that may just be one channel.
I think I'm paying more than that, because 90% of the ones I'm not interested in.
Yeah. Well, it's the and that may just be just ESPN. There's like how many there's ESPN?
ESPN2,
ESPN
ESPN News,
ESPN 15. ESPN, this, that.
ESPN
SEC Network,
Classics.
is that ESPN too?
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
No, that
it is.
launched
It's
last
backed
year.
by ESPN.
Yeah, it's
Okay,
back
that's what I
by-
thought.
and I think there's like a regional sports charge on my bill for
Right.
that. And you know, if it wasn't for the Spanish stations that we subscribe to, I would probably cut. I mean, I love my DirecTV. I love it. I'll say that.
I like
But
mine too.
I would probably get rid of it because, you know, the big reason I keep it is for all the Spanish channels my wife watches, which is good for my child too. I just, you know, you can't beat American TV.
See,
But
that was for Yesy.
But you know, I kept it for so long because you know we didn't have now wasn't a thing. You know, I had HBO Go because I had that.
Right.
You know, I probably, if I didn't have all the discounts on my bill would probably be like $160 a month. And right now it's down to like 107, which is funny because I called in. It was during the World Cup for the women's. I will say I do enjoy watching soccer in Spanish because the announcers are just they're so much better. But the channel that was on we didn't have, and I forgot. Oh, because last fall I had to call and change my package from the Ultimo package to the whatever their premium package is, because it didn't include the SEC network.
Oh,
and
you gotta have that.
You know, I was like, how do y'all not have the SEC network on the Spanish package? I mean, it's the ultimate package,
Right.
At least include it. I was like, which I kind of gave them. I gave them a hard time. I was like, y'all racial profile in there, and they just, you know, I was picking at them, and I forgot to swap it back over after football season. So a different football made me change it back, but they were like, you know, we can go ahead and give you a $10 discount per month for the next 6 months. And
sure.
I didn't even ask for it, and I was like, well, awesome. So it got me bill.
I'm the
further
same
down.
way. I'm a DirecTV subscriber, and over half the networks I don't even watch. I'll scroll through them like, what are these networks? I don't even know that I even had them. You know, and I have one of the lower packages. I don't have like the ultimate package, but you know, it's just like I want it a la carte because I think I could get what I want and pay for what I want, and that's it. And that's what this whole streaming stuff is going to. And there's a article I found that Comcast starting on streaming service. It's for Comcast subscribers, which
DirecTV has that.
I didn't know that, but I know Comcast is in like
DirecTV,
the Gadsden area, but apparently they're getting ready to start a streaming service like $15 a month.
That's correct.
Streaming only.
Yes.
And this actually tells, here's some interesting he's referring to. According to this, Amazon is $8.25 a month, only $9.99 a year. That's only through the $9.99 a year is the $8.25 a month.
Yeah.
And then you've got CBS All Access. According to this, it's $6, which offers some local stations in 14 markets. Then, of course, Dish Sling. They mentioned that. It's $20. You've got HBO Now, which is $15.
And see, I think after I feel like if I were to pay for Showtime separately, HBO, which I kind of am, if I were to get all these streaming things separately, I'm still back at $100.
That's true. I mean,
but I guess,
and you would lose like your local broadcast stations. Your like
Which I watch
James
all the time.
Spann. You wouldn't be able to watch James Spann anymore except through the internet. You'd lose the broadcast news.
Yeah, and I'll say this: like during lunch the other day, Roman Rex and I were watching a show that the USA Network has called Mr. Robot.
Yes,
and we're interested in it. I'm not sure.
Don't watch that show.
Yeah, well, I'll say I'm only two episodes. Yeah, kids
do not watch that show.
I'm only 2 episodes in, and I was kind of like, I don't really like this. It's kind of, they get some things right with it, but that's neither here nor there. But the thing was, now we have a great connection here, and especially during lunch, during the summer, nobody's at their computer.
Yes.
So, I mean, I have 1.25 gigs dedicated to me.
Not true. Not true.
Michael's using half of it, right?
No comment.
But no, because you were actually in the break room eating.
Oh.
So, I mean, we know, like, there's nobody really sitting at their computer. I had almost all of it. But anyways, the quality kept switching and it kept buffering. And I know, like, it's not us, it's their servers. And then you're depending upon that streaming service for them to have enough bandwidth out to have a good quality experience.
Yeah.
And I would be really upset if I paid, let's take HBO now, for example. If I paid $15 a month, and because they've got a lot of subscribers at one point, so they're kind of oversubscribed, that my quality gets pushed down because they're oversubscribed. And, you know, how do you complain to that? You don't have a number at HBO to complain.
You're right.
That's true, but I'm just hoping that they are able to scale that up quickly enough to where they get an influx of subscribers, they can react to that.
And this
quickly.
is where you have ISPs. You know, they're saying nobody needs a connection beyond. You know, I think they're saying like 30 megs or 10 megs. They were in uproar about the, you know, now 20 megs is considered broadband, or 25. Is it 25?
It's been upped recently.
Yeah, I think it's 25 down, and
I thought it was higher than that.
It may be. Look it up.
Yeah.
But anyways, you know, they're in uproar. They're like, nobody needs this. But think of how much industry you're holding back. I mean, by not doing that. And part of it is because they have a vested interest in keeping it down to keep that other revenue stream, that there's an infrastructure there that they don't have to update. It's making money. It's like Sparkman Hall. Kind of inside joke there.
Yes.
But I think 25 is right.
Yeah, I think it's 25 down and
1.5
up, maybe?
3 megs up.
3 megs up. So what if you have 50 down and 2 up?
Then you're not broadband. The up's not fast enough.
I wonder what mine is at home. Is it 53?
If you have the 50 down cable one, it's 5 up.
Is it 5 up?
I think it's 5.
No way.
Mine's 30 down and 3 up. I have the business account because of bandwidth
So they got that
issues.
3 up.
But that goes back to talking about bandwidth. This goes back to bandwidth. Because here's the thing. I started back my Netflix subscription when my nephews come over. They like watching the children's stuff on Netflix. Netflix got a great selection of, and they've got a lot of classic television shows. What I mean by classic, like late 70s, 80s stuff that, you know, I grew up with. And here's the thing, like, I think I'm 15 days through my billing cycle, and Cable One's already saying I've used like 300 gigs of bandwidth.
Wow.
You know, that's
crash plan.
Well, part of that's my cloud backup, but you can see on the graph, you know, probably 60% of that is downstream.
And again, so say if
that's halfway through my
and that's what I'm
billing
saying.
cycle.
You're crippling industry, because now I may not go do that because I can't. You know, I can't. I don't have enough data.
Well, it goes back to we talked about this the other week with Apple Music and all the streaming music, which is great. You know, whichever one you decide to pick, but it goes back to bandwidth. And the cellular companies, you know, they've got you. Unless you're like Bruce and have unlimited bandwidth, which most people do not, because they wanted that new phone. They want to pay full retail, so they took the subsidized price, and they're now limited by so much, you know, bandwidth.
But I have a limit, and I never touch mine. And I have 3 phones running on 6 gigs, and we don't ever fool with it.
What speed do you have?
What are you talking? I'm talking
Is it
about my
4G?
cell phone.
Oh, cell phone.
Yeah.
Is it 4G?
We will use it for all
Or
kind of
LTE
stuff.
So I don't know about you, Michael, but I'm an American, and I don't like to be prohibited on how much I can consume.
Well, I didn't say
especially
we
when
should.
that is
yeah,
data.
but you can pay for it. I mean, you can pay.
Yeah, I do pay. I pay a lot of money every month for my cell phone, which is ridiculous, because if you look at it based upon the speed I'm getting per meg, it is a huge rate compared to what I'm paying for.
Look, I
otherwise.
realize I'm the minority here. I got it. Okay. I know. But, you know, somebody has to pay these people's salary. All those lines and everything don't go up for free. I mean,
they're not getting paid. I'll tell you that.
Well, there are some people that are getting paid. They've got to be. They wouldn't be doing the job.
That's why I'm saying it's ridiculous. They're getting well paid, very well paid. And I'm not saying they shouldn't get their piece of the pie.
But there's a lot of. But here's the thing.
But I think they should be good Christians and not be so greedy.
Oh, here we go. I can't believe that was brought up. Oh my goodness! It is. This show is going down quick. Call James back. That was a lot more entertaining.
I think this is perfectly entertaining.
Yeah. Right.
Fine, then they should be good Southern people and not be so
Now-
greedy.
Okay. Well, we'll see. I don't know about that. Hey, speaking of being able to need some bandwidth, if you want to get, I don't know why you're interested in things like this. I know Bruce talks about Reddit and has covered it many times. You can download 8 years worth of Reddit comments.
Which Ryman Rex did.
Yes, he did. and then he unzipped it basically. Uncompressed it would be the proper term, and he filled up his hard drive because it will take up a terabyte.
Here's my thing. I didn't know Reddit had been around for 8 years.
Yes.
Yep.
I've only heard about it the last 2 or 3.
Well, I've never fooled with it much either. I still don't go there.
I go on rare occasions.
Oh, wow. I started using it pretty early then. I didn't realize. I mean, I knew when I started. I guess that was when. Oh yeah, I guess it does make sense because that's when Dig was really big, and I stumbled upon.
I remember Dig,
and I was really more pro Dig because I like Kevin Rose because I came from he came from the Screensavers and then Attack of the Show. When he left Attack of the Show, I followed him on Dig, and so I was. It was mostly because of Kevin Rose. I was like, man, gotta follow this guy. He's got amazing ideas, very entertaining. And then I had a buddy who was like, well, you need to use Reddit. And at the time, it was just so different. I mean, I was like, I don't care about people's comments. But now I see I don't really know what to call that, but but I'm no longer Reddit. Go vote.
Well, call us.
256-782-5600.
Get us off this subject.
Hey Techies Show.
Jacksonville for school all throughout the year. From books to binders, pencils to Scantrons, Jacksonville Bookstore has it all. They are open Monday through Saturday with convenient hours and location on 302 Mountain Street Northwest in Jacksonville. To find out more, like them on Facebook or call 256-435-7407. Jacksonville Bookstore, proud patron of the...
Looking to secure that sweet tooth of yours? Mad Hatter Cupcake Shop is now proudly serving the Jacksonville area at their new location at 16 Public Square on the Square. Mad Hatter is open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 9 p.m. and they're closed on Sunday and Monday. For additional information, be sure to check out their Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Mad Hat Cupcakes, and their website, www.madhatcakes.com.
Jacksonville Tan is a proud patron of WLJS, serving Jacksonville and surrounding areas since 1987. At their location at 115 Francis Street East, next to Walgreens. Jacksonville Tan knows a thing or two about healthy glow, offering 16 tanning beds and virtually no wait times. A great tan is never out of the question. For more info, call them at 256-435-1770.
Wise Guys Pizzeria and Bar is ready to satisfy your taste buds with a wide variety of pizza and other Italian treats. Located at 7113 US 431 Bama, they are open Monday through Saturdays from 11 a.m. until 10 p.m. For more information, like them on Facebook or call 256-820-0888. Wise Guys Pizzeria and Bar is a proud patron of WLJS.
Welcome back to the Hey Techies Show. So glad you could join us on this wonderful night. We had a great talk with James Spann. If you missed it, don't worry. It will be on our podcast later this evening when I edit it and get it up there late tonight. That's my plan. And you can also go see us from our Hangouts. It'll be on our homepage at heytechieshow.com, and you'll be able to see the video and hear it as well. So there'll be a lot of ways to go play it back. And I know there's a lot of information there. If you didn't get it all, you may want to go listen to it again. If you wanted to, he mentioned a couple of apps you're interested in. We're going to try to put those in the show notes.
Right.
So you'll be able to go to the show notes and see all about what we sort of show. We'll get as close as we can, but you may listen and say, hey, you missed something. Well, let us know. That's a question at heytechieshow.com. Hey, if you got something we can improve on the show, questions at heytechieshow.com. We'll be glad to take those questions. And hopefully one day when we are getting those type things, we're going to be email segment. We got a lot of things planned that we want to come up and develop the show further. And
absolutely,
we'd be glad to take your call at 256-782-5600. We'll talk to you on the air, and you can tell us about your tech issue, and we'll answer as best we can. Usually, I think we do pretty good on those. So we've had several questions. Now, speaking of questions, I had one email this week. Pardon me, and what's happened is the friend of mine, Paula, she had her computer was off. She turned it off during a thunderstorm, and it was sitting there saying it was going to install 5 of 19 updates. And I guess she decided to turn it off. And the morning she brought it back up, it was still saying the same thing. So she told me, well, I cut it off a few more times, and now it's basically blank. She said it finally came up with a little cursor. And so what I think possible, I sent her back some information, but I think really what possibly happened as Bruce puts his foot back up on the counter again, he's going to switch and do the other one, right? Is that you're going to stretch
Did you not hear my knee pop?
No, I missed it. Anyway, back to Paula's question. Now, I told her I think what's probably happened is now that one or two possibilities, I think, is that it could have, with all these shutdowns, written some possible bad data out on the disk or to a file, and it probably won't boot now.
Pretty sure it says don't turn off. Please do not power off
here's the thing.
Well,
it could have been, we had storms come through the other night. I mean, the power could have blinked, and if you don't have a UPS on your computer, it could kill it, just like if you pulled the plug or turned it off. So
she said it had a thunderstorm, and it turned it off.
Okay.
That's right. I misread that.
But you're right, Michael. Something could have been in the process being wrote out to the disk, and it put the odd state, and it doesn't know what to do.
Now, I know it's frustrating. Windows users and Mac users make fun of Windows users for this, updating 5 of 19, blah, 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 whatever in this instance. But sometimes you have to let that go through its motions. It might take an hour, depending on a lot of factors, to update. Sometimes the updates are fairly large. And if you let it go ahead and finish what it's doing, even though it might not be seemingly moving, I think it will eventually move along. One thing I think that it looks like it's going to take a long time, I could be wrong, but I think it's got to go back and figure out where it was at now to try to finish that update of 5, 6, go and moving along.
She pressed F8 when she restarted.
Well, now, okay, so what I recommended was to restart it and try to press F8 after you see that it's a Dell, see the Dell logo go off, and try to go to last known good configuration.
Yeah.
Try that to see if it comes up. If it does come up, then
update it and don't turn it off.
Right. Let it sit there and do its updates. The worst case scenario for her is that it's not going to come back and this is a reimage deal, or rather a reinstall OS, which is a possibility. But even at that, she still could get her data back quite likely. It's not dead. It's that she's going to have to boot to another OS of some type and pull the data off that way, or have someone do it for her. Now, in doing that, I ran across a couple of good resources real quick. I saw a guy, and I hadn't thought about this, but I've done something similar to this. He used the disc that you can have some of them come with, or you can make a disc, and to repair your machine, he boots to that. Then he goes through the whole setup where he basically gets to where you can start a command prompt. Okay. I've been there before. There's several tools. Yeah. He started Notepad when he got there. Notepad. Oh. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, once he was in Notepad, he could go up to File and Open, and then he could go browse the disk, and then you could copy. And if you had an external drive, you could copy and open that drive with Explorer, and you could copy back and forth.
Yep.
No, that was actually a pretty sharp. I had not really thought about that.
And along that, when you started saying that, it made me think. This is something that I learned a long time ago. It's called the Emergency Boot CD.
Yes.
I don't know if you're referring to the same thing, but we're going to put a link in the show notes to this software. It's a try before you buy kind of thing. You can try it. It's probably limited. It's been a while since I've used it, but it's the full blown version is $39.95. Which, I mean, yeah, that's an investment, but if you're having trouble getting your data off and the disk is still good, you can always try this.
They can use Hiron's boot disk, and
they
it's
could
free.
use that too. Hiron's.
I just know this one's been around for a long time. I mean, I'm probably dating myself when I said this. When I was in college and like Leo Laporte on Tech TV, he'd talk about this.
Yeah, I remember that. And also, you can if you know a little bit about what you're doing, of course, you might not be in this circumstance.
Yeah.
But if this does happen, I cut off during a power outage, and it's a pain. If you're doing, and sometimes I won't even do major updates if there's going to be storms in the neighborhood because you never know. However, you can download what's called a pre-boot to a USB.
Yeah.
So you can take this pre-boot OS, and I usually do Linux, a version of Linux, because once I get in there, I can copy and paste from hard drive to hard drive, and I use that a lot to back it up.
Is there a certain one you recommend? Because there's
I
tons of Linux distros
I know,
out there.
and I like what a product called Yumi, Yumi, I think it is. And it's a USB menu boot, allow you to install several different products on a USB drive, and you can boot to that. And one of my favorite is Linux Mint. I think it seems to be fairly easy to use to me, and you can also it'll also mount the disk for you most of the time and allow you to write to it. I know Ubuntu sometimes won't allow you to write to the local disk. It turns that feature off so that it doesn't damage things. It's more of what's the right term? It would be like keeping you from harming yourself. Type term.
Those protections in place that Windows puts on its own system files are not enforced.
Now here's the worst case scenario. The one could be that your data, some of the data might have got corrupted, and when you copy it, it's mangled. It could still be that way, and I've even seen where Linux wouldn't read that data for whatever reason because it was so mangled. And so that's a situation where you almost have to be able to get into Windows and run a check disk and basically try to get it to fix the errors before you can boot back in.
Can you still use the Windows like DVD and boot to it?
Yes.
Which I know a lot of computers don't come with it, but usually they ask you, would you like to build like restore CDs? And you can boot
and
to
that
those?
is a very important thing. If you're going to have a Windows now, especially because they don't come a lot of this, you need to make a backup restore disk. You can do that in Windows to make a restore disk. It's very important.
And man, I'm just going blank over here on all these tools and stuff I was going to talk about. I was going to ask you, have you used Puppy Linux? That's a good one. And
I have used it.
For people who listen that are, trying to learn how to do this stuff, that's a good one to look at.
It is. And these can be put on CD. These are mostly live CD. You can do live CD, so it could be written to a CD in case you can't boot to or USB for whatever reason. Sometimes you do.
If the device has an optical drive, which newer computers, that's kind of going by the wayside.
That's another issue.
There's another Linux distro I'm trying to think of, and I just haven't had to do this type of stuff in a while, and I'll think of it before the end of the show. But on their website it allows you to put in to kind of pre-build the OS, so you don't have to go out and install these other applications. So it comes pre-packaged.
Slacks.
Thank you, man. I could not think of it.
You can build it the way you want to.
Yeah, I love Slacks. It's like I said, it's been a while since
that is a type of Puppy Linux, if I'm not mistaken. It's sort of built on that same architecture.
But and then the other thing that I was having a blank on, the new computer I got, it came with a license. I want to say it was a Cronus True Image.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm planning on doing is after I get everything reinstalled and set the way I like it, create an image.
Yes.
And then it's out there in the cloud. So, whenever something happens, I can just, boom, put it back on there.
Right.
Clonezilla, I've used it.
Yes.
Yeah,
Clonezilla's
good.
You need to know what you're doing to use
Yeah,
Clonezilla.
some of these.
That's not a real.
Yeah, but this is
not
good for people that want to experiment and get into.
Well, I'm just saying that there's going to be some learning curve if you know
Yeah,
nothing
yeah, if
about
you know nothing,
this.
yeah.
That's going to be a learning curve.
Yeah.
But a really great product and free.
But even with the my mind went blank. The Clonezilla, you can clone from hard disk to hard disk. You don't have to.
That's correct.
You don't have to worry about trying to mount a
correct.
network share and do all that advanced stuff. You can just say plug up a USB drive and just basically clone my hard drive.
Yes, it had the source drive has to be smaller than the destination drive or the same.
Right. Obviously.
Well, no, I mean.
Well, I mean, if you do, it depends. But I'll say on the Mac side, there's a couple of other softwares. You've got like Carbon Copy Cloner.
Correct. Yeah.
You've got one that works kind of like Clonezilla, but it's not really doing images. It's called Super Duper.
Yes, I know.
You can basically plug up an external drive the same size or larger. Right. It makes a bit-for-bit copy.
Correct.
And it makes it bootable.
Right.
If your Macintosh HD hard drive on your MacBook or any Macintosh OS 10 device, it can't boot. You just hook up that USB drive and you can boot from the actual external disk.
Well, I was gonna say Clonezilla will work for Mac.
Okay. Well, I'm just saying I haven't used Clonezilla.
It works for anything.
I haven't used Clonezilla on a Mac, but I've used Super Duper and Carbon Copy Cloner.
You gonna put all those in the show notes?
Yes.
Good, because I already forgot their names.
I know. I kind of threw them off really quick, but yeah.
So check out the show
There's
notes.
tons of utilities out there.
But I've got a good utility, so if you're setting up a new computer and you don't have a backup and it's just a clean install, stay tuned for our picks of the week, and it'll be part of my pick of the week.
Stick with us. We'll be right back.
As a proud patron of WLJS, On Time Fashion is Oxford's #1 stop for menswear. With top labels like Hustle Gang, LRG, and 8732, and with top lines for suits and ties, there is no need to shop anyplace else. Located at 527 South Quintard Avenue, On Time Fashion is open Monday through Saturday from 10 to 7 p.m. For more information, call 256-831-9444 or like them on Facebook at On Time Fashion.
Jacksonville Bookstore offers supplies for school all throughout the year. From books to binders, pencils to Scantrons, Jacksonville Bookstore has it all. They are open Monday through Saturday with convenient hours and location on 302 Mountain Street Northwest in Jacksonville. To find out more, like them on Facebook or call 256-435-7407. Jacksonville Bookstore, a proud patron of WLJS.
Looking to cure that sweet tooth of yours? Mad Hatter Cupcake Shop is now proudly serving the Jacksonville area at their new location at 16 Public Square on the Square. Mad Hatter is open Tuesday through Saturday from 11 to 9 p.m. and they are closed on Sunday and Monday. For additional information, be sure to check out their Facebook page, www.facebook.com/Mad Hat Cupcakes, and their website, www.madhatcakes.com.
Gamecock Jewelry and Pawn is a proud patron of WLJS 91.9 FM. Located at 215 Pelham Road, Gamecock Jewelry and Pawn has everything you need from TVs, laptops, CDs, video games, and much more. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday and 10 to 3 on Saturdays, Gamecock Jewelry and Pawn is ready to get you cash in a flash. For more info on Gamecock Jewelry and Pawn, call 256-435-8806.
Welcome back to the Hey Techies Show. Hey, Bruce, what's that one?
Oh, I wasn't listening. I was thinking.
Come on.
I was thinking, give us a call, 256-250-600. Uh-oh. You dropped a bomb on me.
Oh, I forgot. That's not that.
That wasn't the full version.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's
I wasn't
all right.
watching the timer on it. I'm
That's
sorry.
all right,
I want to say we played
Who was
that.
enjoying the music?
I want to say we played that my rookie year in band.
Who dropped
played
the bomb?
Yeah, man.
That's a good one.
Tear that up on my trombone.
Yeah. Well,
Rick James.
No. Okay, that's enough of that. Oh my goodness, Bruce. Okay, so we got through talking about our question. It was a great question, and I appreciate
It led into a lot of things.
It led into a lot of things, and I hope that we help someone through that. I do want to talk about this real quick. It won't take long. There was been some discussion that there would not be any Windows 10 PCs in the store on July 29th, but that is not true. That has been updated and corrected, and
what I've heard is the day it comes out, they will have it available.
Yes. Now, according to that, there's supposed to be some in-store and online machines installed with Windows 10.
Because, and I want to say it's in here in some of my notes. Man, the way I printed this out this week, not doing it again. But
he's saving paper.
Yeah, trying to. Oh, hey, here it is. So very convenient. But yeah, what I was going to say is that reportedly Windows 10 is done, and it has been released to, I guess, OEM.
I think they call it like RTM or Gold Master or something.
Yeah, it's saying it's reached RTM status with build number 10240. Or 10240. I hate when people say
and earlier this week, I think, or maybe late last week, is where I read about they were late getting RTM ready, and that was going to delay having Windows 10 out of the box PCs on launch day, which has kind of been a tradition. The day it comes out, which it meant more back when you had to have everything on physical media.
Yeah,
it's kind of, this is more of a download situation for people upgrading.
And I know we talked about this in the past that which they still haven't been clear on who's getting it for free. That's still even a rumor within itself. But I know we've talked about this on previous weeks that if you may not be getting it the first day, you may not be getting it the first week. So you just kind of got to wait till it gets pushed to you.
Well, here's a question related to new PCs with Windows 10. Will the Surface Pro 4 be coming out on July 29th?
Man, I sure hope so.
Because I've got an article that I found talking about it may not be released till 2016.
Yeah, that's what you. Yeah.
I mean, that's terrible. That date has been thrown around for months.
Terrible.
Well, if they do, it'll be a real big surprise.
And here's the thing: I got an email from Microsoft. They dropped the price on the Surface Pro 3s like $200. So leads me to believe people have stopped buying them or anticipating the new models. Like why buy the year-old model when I can wait a few weeks and get the new one? Well,
right.
I think there may be some legitimacy to waiting until 2016 for this. They may not be quite ready to release it. The Surface Pro 4. So but they're trying to drive sales of what they've got because they've got all this inventory and they got to move that merchandise out.
I was really hoping it'd come out because I wanted one.
Well, I couldn't wait.
You know what? Actually, I don't like the number 4, so. I could wait.
Surface Pro 10 to go with Windows 10.
If they called it that, I'd be like, all right.
It's the Surface 10.
Skipping to 5.
That's right. Skip all the way to 10.
I don't like the number 4. Don't ask why.
Anyway,
because I couldn't tell you. I don't know. It's one of those things. So yeah, Windows, which that will release. What day is that? That's a Tuesday, Friday.
The 29th is. I don't know. I have to look on the calendar.
Well, I'm just saying, be prepared because I'm sure we'll talk about it more on the show.
And here's the thing: if you reserved your copy, through your current Windows 7 or Windows 8, 8.1.
Oh, that's a Wednesday.
It's a Wednesday.
Anyway, I don't know if it'll be available to every because you had to reserve your copy online to upgrade. I don't know if everybody will get it to download on the first day.
They will not. No.
People. I think some people are going to be disappointed. They're going to be like, go to their computer on that Wednesday and
I'm running a box with Windows 10, as I've said before.
Yeah.
And I think it seems pretty close. There's a couple of things that are not exact, but I think it's my install. I kept upgrading and upgrading.
Yeah.
And I just think there was some
things.
Fresh
install.
Not every time that it came out with a new preview release. I just kept.
I hate that I'm installing 7 right now. Because I know that one I'll probably upgrade to 10, but I hate doing an upgrade. I would rather just do a fresh install.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
So,
but for you now to do that is
would be
anyways. That'd be a weekend job.
Yes, it would.
Hey, along with that, Nokia says do not expect a phone until 2016. according to them. And get this.
Well, I thought they were dropping it completely.
Well, I don't know. According to this, they said no mobile phone, new one, until 2016 at the earliest.
They just said don't expect a phone.
And to add to this, what a way to say this. They say it's complicated. No,
It's
open-ended.
Oh, goodness. But here's the thing, Nokia back in the day, prior to smartphones, they were like one of the leading edge.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I can remember having several different Nokia models.
Didn't have to worry about having insurance on your phone.
No, it was like a $49 Circuit CD phone. Anyway.
You got a building that won't come down, throw Nokia at it.
But
I had heard that one.
It goes back to the business model changed, and they just, I guess, they couldn't keep up. And people like HTC came in, and Samsung, which wasn't even in the phone.
Yeah.
They weren't even in the phone space at all, and they came in with, I guess, with smartphones. I'm assuming. I can't remember, but
I mean, I don't remember a Samsung phone till.
I mean, it's crazy how the landscape's changed. If you think about it and look back,
it'll change again, I'm sure.
Oh yes.
So I know we've talked about this probably.
Carry on.
The past 2 months,
mm-hmm.
but we're talking about the OPM hack again.
Well,
and I said, we'll probably be talking about it again next week.
Sure.
And I don't know how much further this can go.
Oh,
so I can say we may not talk about this next week. I can't say we won't.
I don't think there's any insight to it.
Well, they were just talking. It went up to like 22 or 21.5 last week, and I remember saying something about they were offering 18 months,
right?
And we've had our own conversations, but I guess a week later, people are finally writing about it, and they're just saying so much information that was in there is so detrimental. I mean, you have their whole lives,
right?
Because they go, these background checks are deep,
right? And
they were saying, this needs to be lifelong monitoring, because we were like, okay, 18 months, start the time clock now. When's my alarm go off? Now I'm going to take control of your stuff. And I mean, it's just, they were like, well, you could change social security numbers, but because they do that for people that go into like protective services or whatever.
Well, I think if you have like a major identity, I guess stolen, there's certain circumstances where you can have it changed now, your social security number.
Yeah.
Well, I understand. But
and
how do you change it for 20 million people, though?
Well,
I mean, just saying.
Everybody into the person to your left.
And it's one thing we talked a couple years ago, all the retailers started getting hacked. Anyway.
Sorry, Guru.
A couple years ago, we talk about Target and Home Depot, and all these retailers got their credit card information hacked. Well, the credit card number gets stolen. Yeah, it's a pain, especially if it's a debit card. It may wipe some money out of your account, and it takes time to get that back through your bank and go through the process. But they can easily replace your debit card number, your credit card number.
Yeah.
But it's hard to change social security number, your birth date, all this key information that, I mean, it's scary.
And so you would think the people that this is what they do for a living is figure out solutions to this stuff. I mean, I guess I haven't, sat down and thought, but I mean, it just seems like the social security number is a very weak password. I could probably, just like the LifeLock guy when he put his social security number on TV.
Yes.
And then had his identity stolen so many times. And he has LifeLock. Bring it on. And, they're like, all right. So, it's just that seems to be the problem. That's like, well, everybody's like, well, everything's online. And, that's the problem. No, there has been people stealing stuff for as long as
sure.
There's been something to steal. And the problem is what you're, the social security number is just so important. Make it less important or switch to something different. Use some two-factor authentication. Don't just say, well, Joe Blow here knows his social security number, so that's him. And,
right.
It's a responsibility of, that goes further down the line.
Yeah. Biometrics, I think, is going to start playing a larger and larger role.
Well, see, that can be faked easily.
Well, yes, yes, it can. I mean, nothing's perfect.
And my thing is I think people are too confident in that,
Yeah,
he's got it. Got the
you
fingerprint.
can't. I agree. You can't just do one thing and it be. I think
Yeah.
2-factor is going to definitely help.
Yeah.
Not saying it's the answer either. It may not be, but having 2-factor authentication, I think, it's a lot better than just password or social security number or whatever by itself.
I think the reality is that we will always have those who just don't want to bother with that. The 2-factor. They don't want to bother with this. They want a password that is 1, 2, 3, 4, or one
password
or
password
secret or their name twice.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
That's good.
Well, it goes back to like
and never thought of that.
Right. John, what's your password? John. No,
Well,
I'm just saying their username's John.
It,
and
it,
their
it requires too
John.
much. It requires too much effort, and you want it to be easy because I gotta go, gotta move on. And you're on these smart devices where you got this little small keyboard. It's like I gotta type a 17 character long password with symbols and letters and numbers, and it's like.
Well, you know, I created a new account for something today, and I won't say what service it was or anything. But it needed to be between 8 and 16 characters. I was like, you're limiting me. And, I mean, this is a major, huge corporation. I'm like, you're limiting me to 16 characters?
I mean, this space is so cheap. It should be at least 8. And, I mean, make it 500. Limit of 500
You know, and I've had some
that
they don't want, you know, like the tilde or some other special characters. They don't allow spaces or they don't allow... You know, it can be some special characters, but not others.
And I can say from doing software development stuff, those special characters can break stuff, but there's ways around it. There's ways to make sure when you input that special character, it doesn't blow up your code.
And to me, that's just laziness.
It is.
And oh god, man, it just. I was like, seriously? And I mean, I generated this password, so it's not even one I know. I can't get much more secure than that. But, I mean, it just blew my mind.
Well, when we come back, we're going to turn it over to the guru, and he's going to bring us This Week in Tech History. Stick with us.
Hey, Techies.
Wise Guys Pizzeria and Bar is ready to satisfy your taste buds with a wide variety of pizza and other Italian treats. Located at 7113 US 431 Alexandria, Alabama, they are open Monday through Saturdays from 11 a.m. until 10 p.m. For more information, like them on Facebook or call 256-820-0888. Wise Guys Pizzeria and Bar is a proud patron of WLJS.
Jacksonville Tan is a proud patron of WLJS, serving Jacksonville and surrounding areas since 1987. At their location at 115 Francis Street East, next to Walgreens. Jacksonville Tan knows a thing or two about healthy glow, offering 16 tanning beds and virtually no wait times. A great tan is never out of the question. For more info, call them at 256-435-1770.
Jacksonville Bookstore offers supplies for school all throughout the year. From books to binders, pencils to Scantrons, Jacksonville Bookstore has it all. They are open Monday through Saturday with convenient hours and location on 302 Mountain Street Northwest in Jacksonville. To find out more, like them on Facebook or call 256-434-07. Jacksonville Bookstore, a proud patron of WLJS.
You know what this song is, Bruce?
Totally thought it was going to be some Backstreet Boys in
Backstreet, This actually is Backstreet Boys.
Oh, no, are you serious?
Yes.
Oh, no, yeah, I do know this. Oh.
Yeah, several of our listeners that I went to high school with, they're going crazy right now.
Oh, I know.
And they're probably mad at me because I just potted it down, turned it down.
They'll never be better than New Kids on the Block.
I'm sorry, Kelly and Jacqueline, if you're listening. The show must go on.
Yeah. Well, now we're going to turn it over to the guru to bring us
This Week in Tech History.
All right.
You good, Bruce?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
July 16th, 1969, 46 years ago today, Apollo 11 was launched from Cape Kennedy, Florida, which was it started its mission, and 4 days later it landed, the first men on the moon. So how about that?
That's right.
46 years ago today.
That's right.
At what time?
I don't have that information with me, but I could probably look it up. But I didn't get that information.
It was during the day.
But the Saturn V rocket, which was a little bit of trivia, if you don't follow it, the Saturn V rocket, which was used for the Apollo program, was developed in Huntsville, Alabama.
Absolutely.
So there you go.
Well, that's good information. Very good information.
I love space.
Yeah, me too.
I'm sure it's so quiet out there.
Probably is. Yep.
Yeah, lack of an atmosphere makes that easy,
Yep. Yeah, I believe you're right. It's real quiet. Well, all right. Well, let's do our overclock stack. See how far we can get into it. I could go first here. Microsoft is going to release it has released Office 2016 for a Mac. So if you have a Mac and you have a Microsoft account, and you can go get Office 2016 for Mac already, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and more.
And I will say this about that is Office for the Mac prior to this was horrible. I used it. I mean, it got to the point I would not use it on my Mac. I would boot into Windows and use the Windows Word.
Yeah.
But here's the thing with 2016 Office, I've downloaded it because I have Office 365 and on the Mac, and my first impressions, it looks and behaves a lot like Office on Windows, which is a good thing. So I'm gonna, as I get into this fall semester and start back into classes, I'm gonna really be able to see how well it's gonna work. But it looks pretty good.
So mine is about a security researcher, and I think they're using that term very loosely because I think it was a high school student in the UK. Found a security flaw in the Impero Education Pro, and it's something that they use basically to, I guess, regulate what they can get on the computer as far as the internet. But he posted on his Twitter letting them know, hey, I found where, this allows remote code execution on all Windows clients. He was like, yeah, it's bad, and they put out a patch quickly to fix it, and he still found a way around that and was just like, hey, this still exists. Well, they sent him, their attorneys sent him a letter for copyright infringement and just threatening the guy. So they got him for copyright infringement and breach of contract, saying that he had, I guess, uncompile or let's see what it says. Anyways, he was putting their code out there and did not have an agreement to do that. But I mean, I'm sorry if a company did that. You have somebody out here saying, "Hey, here is a flaw, fix it. I found it." Like, you didn't have to pay that person. Man, it's just crazy.
Yeah.
So,
kind of talking about flaws and stuff. We talked about this a few weeks ago, a month ago maybe. But United Airlines was offering a bounty for any kind of security vulnerabilities found. It was going to be in the form of frequent flyer miles.
Oh yeah, we talked about this.
Yeah, two hackers have scored 1 million frequent flyer miles each for finding security holes in their computer system at United Airlines. So these two hackers. There were some other ones given out as well, but these were the two big ones. They were severe enough that they offered them they gave them 1 million miles each. And just to give you, it's on here somewhere. I can't find it, but basically, I think it was enough miles for like 20. You use 1 million miles for like 20 domestic flights, or like 2 transatlantic first class, like to Asia. I mean, that's some pretty big money that they're spending and comping these folks for travel. But they did get some vulnerabilities patched. So
nice.
Yeah, this is common in other industries, but this is kind of a rarity for the transportation industry.
Yeah.
So good thing for United. I'm glad they got those bugs fixed.
A Spanish bakery is determined to become the world's first to deliver its bread by a fleet of drones. A Spanish bakery, they're located in a small northern town of Spain. It wants to be the first if their plans come true, and the bakery manager said, we have a great product and we want to bring it to the world. So they're going to try to spin up some drones. Now, I don't think...
bread.
Yeah.
Smell it coming.
That's right. So I don't. It says here that Amazon, of course, has been developing drones, and Domino's franchise in UK is testing sending steaming hot pizza via drones. Bring me that pizza.
Bring me that pizza. Microsoft Edge, which is going to be Microsoft's browser replacement for IE, is faster than other browsers, up to 112% faster than Chrome. Now, the benchmarks that they use were not developed by Microsoft, surprisingly. WebKit SunSpider it showed that Edge is 112% faster. Google Octane, which was developed by Google, Edge is 11% faster. And on Apple Jetstream, Apple is 37%. Edge is 37% faster than Chrome. I don't really know about speed.
Yeah,
I'm really more like functionality and security.
Yes,
because I mean,
well, there's some products that I have to support in my job, my full-time day job, where you have to use IE for different reasons.
That's
and I'm just curious if this is gonna break it because
it probably will.
Oh, I fight with IE with certain things. It gets on my nerves.
I hate when people develop that's you have to use IE.
Yeah.
Well,
anyway,
ActiveX.
Yeah. All right. Next story. There's apparently a 30-year-old Commodore Amiga computer that is running the HVAC system for 19 public schools in the Grand Rapids public school system. It's 30 years old, and apparently it's still running. I mean, that's just
way to go, Commodore.
I know it's amazing that's still working.
Wonder if it has 5 meg hard drive, like James was talking about.
Probably.
Well, it operates on a 1200-bit modem.
Wow,
that's what they're saying here. That's how I guess communicates back and forth, because this is a distributed all different schools.
Their investment.
Yeah, I should say so.
Yeah, where
return.
I think they're looking at trying to replace it, but a new, more current system would cost between $1.5 and $2 million.
Well, they probably saved that.
Oh yeah, but still, now they got to come up with the money.
Yeah.
To upgrade.
So,
there you go.
You got another one?
Yep.
Go ahead.
Ford is rolling out a mountain e-bike. Have you seen this?
What?
Yep. The Mold Me folding commuter bike and Mode Pro deliver bike concepts. Were born out of the internal e-bike design competition. Apparently, they had.
Huh.
And I saw a picture. The picture is more impressive than just really discussing it. It gets a bit of its autonomous tech that's taking the audio industry by an ultrasonic rear sensor provides a warning when cars approaching from behind. The handlebars and the accompanying Mode Link app, apparently. It also has the latest LED technology derived from their vehicles like the Ford F-150 and the Ford GT. So it's a real
picture of this.
It is a cool bike. You'd have to see it. You can look it up. We'll put a link to it as well. But it's a new mountain bike by Ford, e-bike. I don't know of a price right now.
Well, I was gonna have more, but I think I'll stop.
I got one more. Let me throw this in here. MSN is dropping some of their branded apps. Here's the list of the ones they're dropping: MSN Health and Fitness, MSN Travel, and MSN Food and Drink for Windows, Apple, iOS, and Google Android. I didn't know those existed.
No,
apparently they're discontinuing those apps. They're like branded MSN. This is Microsoft.
Oh, okay.
Health and Fitness, Travel.
They've got other
Food
stuff that probably replaces that.
Well, I think they're just trying to shed off some stuff that's not making them any money, probably.
Cry me a river.
I know.
Okay.
Well, I mean, I'm just not. So what?
Do we want to talk about our picks of the week?
Yes. We got to get them in quick. So
go
ahead, Guru.
Pick of the week.
Pick of the week. Since we had James Spann on, I picked a weather pick. Radar Scope, as James talked about when we talked to him about it. That's one of the best radar apps, period. I've had it for years. Great radar app. I like it. It's for iOS, Android, and for Mac OS 10. The iOS and Android for your phone's like $10, $9.99 on those respective stores. And the OS 10 model, the OS 10 version, it's like $29. I've never played with that one, but it must do more.
Clearly.
obviously it does, but it's a full desktop app, and probably James Spann owns it, but I do not. So anyway, radarscope.tv. You go to the site; it's got all the links. So there you go. That's my pick.
I got Weather Brains, their blog that they do. I guess it's more than a blog. It's really a radio show it's a podcast, I guess you would call it. And I've learned a lot off of it. It's really interesting. A lot of the stuff he was talking about, they talk about there. And they'll interview weather people from all over the country. And, so it really is a good watch. It comes on Monday nights, 8:30 Central Time. So weatherbrains.com.
Well, my pick of the week is out of place since mine's non-weather related.
That's all right.
But since I'm having to go through media runtimes, out and downloading the utility that you use. You just click what you want.
Wow. I have like a Word document with everything that I have to install on my computer home and one for work, because that's good.
Again, we've time and we've had a great time tonight. It's been a great evening.
Really
listening to
James.
Yes, and of course that goes out to him again anytime. Yeah, glad the weather was nice. And appreciate you, and thank you for loading the podcast and watching. We will be back here next week.
Same time, same place.
That's right, and we will talk to you then.
Stay tuned for Greg McVicker.
Y'all have a good night. God bless.